everything in its place. Everything goes where it needs to go so that when you need it the most, you can find it. You don't want to put toilet paper in the pantry because you go to the bathroom in the bathroom. When you run out of toilet paper, you best not call someone to ask for toilet paper that's in the pantry, right? You got to just reach into the drawer right next to your sink and grab it in the toilet or in the bathroom. The same thing goes for paper towels. Don't store the paper towels in the pantry. Put them underneath the sink. There are places to put these things. The proper place makes it easier to access the things when you most need them. You got to think about this with your thoughts as well. So in the same way that you would order your house with physical items in the proper place for quick access, you need to mentally set up your mind so that you're prepared in any circumstance to move through the world. You need to orient your life mentally. Do some housekeeping up here to stay on track, to stay in touch, to understand the mistakes that you've been through, to learn from them, to know the lessons for the future, to have systems in place on how to move through the world, to know what works, where you're going, all the stuff that comes with self-help or meditation or looking inward and self-revelation, whatever these things mean, right? All that it is making sure that the same way that you fold your laundry and you meal prep at the start of the week and you stay stocked with shampoo in the shower and toilet paper in the bathroom and all these different things, you're doing all of that up here. So what does that look like? I go through a lot of things in my weekly schedule that are crazy, once-in-a-lifetime stories on a very consistent basis. Right now I'm doing the 50 States Marathon Challenge. I am delivering tables constantly. I'm trying to make a name for myself on social media, having conversations with all my friends that are very high-level conversations. They put me out of my comfort zone and push up here. I'm learning so many things. I'm experiencing so many things all at once, right? And in order to keep up with all that, I have to order my mind. I got to keep things in order. That's what the Daily Thoughts YouTube channel is for. It's less to put advice into the world. It's more to keep my mind in order. Because if you don't speak it out, then it's like all jumbling up here. When you speak it out, it's in order, right? You have to order it in your head as you're speaking it out, and then now it's a concise narrative. It's like a Google Doc. You can't submit an essay without typing it out first, right? Yeah, I've got the greatest one up here. Oh, you're gonna love this one. English teacher, this is gonna be the first A+ you've ever given, right? It's like, but it's up here. We gotta sit down and have coffee one day. It's like, no, that's not how that works. The proper way to do it is to speak it out, write it out on paper, and hand it in the essay. The same thing with your experiences that you go through. You have to speak them out. If that's through a journal, if that's through conversation with a significant other or a friend, or if that's just through talking it out through, by yourself in a video format like this, or even an audio format. You have to speak it out, keep a record of it. That way you can free your mental capacity. Think of it this way. You go to the grocery store and you pick up all the groceries, right? And you need those bags because you're about to go out and grab another thing where you need the bags, okay? You're using reusable bags because you're a good human. Anyways, you have to empty out all the groceries so that you can have those bags and go out and get what you're supposed to get, whatever, right? So then you got to put the stuff in the pantry and the stuff in the, the bathroom, and then all the food in the, fridge and everything like that. You got to free up the bag. So think of your mind as like, it's a collection of all of the experiences that you go through. And you have to sort through those experiences, those lessons, those mistakes. You have to organize your life if you want to be worth anything, You've got intrinsic self-value, but more so if you want to be capable of achieving anything in this life, you have to be very well ordered. Because if you're not, then in the same way that, you have dirty laundry on the floor and you're walking at night and you step on it, or like my foam roller that I use after I work out. Actually, I don't even use it. I need to start using it more often. Anyways, if that was on the ground and it wasn't in its proper place next to the workout equipment, then at night, if I was walking to go to the bathroom, I would slip on it, It's not only to have access when you most need it, but it's also to prevent, something from going wrong when it's least expected. What does that look like? I mean, if you don't process a mistake that you've made, then when that situation comes up in the future and you're confronted by the same thing, it's a threat because you don't understand what you did wrong. You haven't learned from that experience. So then the threat confronts you, and maybe it's something really small, but it prevents you from moving forward on this path that you have in mind. You have to order those things. You have to put them in their place. You have to understand what exactly you have. The food in the pantry are the experiences that you go through in your day-to-day life. It's that fuel when you most need it, and you don't want it to go to waste. You don't want it to expire. So then the same way that you put groceries up and you make sure that you know exactly what you have. Oh, this expires then, like, okay, I got to use this week. I've had it for a little while. That's the same thing with me processing my experiences, and for you processing your experiences. For me, this past week, I've run 6 marathons so far in the 50 States Marathon Challenge this year. It's February 28th. So we're 2 months into the year, 6 marathons down. And I've only made videos about 3 of them. So then there's 3 more videos, that just daily thoughts videos, that I have to speak out. We're starting to expire. We're getting close to a month on the Mississippi River video. And I think I put that one out actually. So I just need to talk about the Mesa one and then as well the Austin, because I did Atlanta. But these experiences, I have to process them. If I don't, then it's mental baggage. It sits up here and it's dusty on the shelf, and it's like I'm a hoarder of all these memories, of all these experiences. And I don't even know what exists. It gets to the point that it's like a storage room, Storage Wars, or whatever that account is, or that channel, where they, cut off the bolts and they open up the thing. And, oh, look at all this stuff. Like, that's you. That's your mind. If you don't take care of all these experiences that you've been through, you have to process them. You got to understand what you've done. And why is that? Because this is something I'm still working through. I think it's going to be great one day. I absolutely love it. Basically, it's this. We all have 99.9% of the same DNA. We're very similar at the genetic level, right? Which makes sense. But we look very different. Every single one of us is a unique combination of the expression of that DNA. So even though the code is all the same, the expression of the code is very different. Why is that? A couple things. One, the experiences that you go through unlock certain parts of your DNA. They tell certain parts of your DNA to fire, or to produce, or to make this, that, and the other. What does that look like? If you live in a cold environment where the air is really thin, then your lungs are going to have to work harder. So your environment causes you to develop a certain different type of lung capacity. It forces you to do that. I don't know, like, you see what I mean? Like, the situation that you're born into changes you at a genetic level physically. So in the same way, the experiences that you go through in your day-to-day life change who you are. Like that in the same way that the unique expression of DNA makes you who you are physically, the unique circumstances that you go through in your life change who you are mentally. That's your unique proposition. I'm still working through it, so it's not like a solid idea yet, but basically, like, until you understand fully what you've been through, all of the mistakes you've made, the lessons you've learned, the successes that you've had, the great strengths and things that you've done in your life, the weaknesses that have held you back for such a long time. Unless you process all this stuff that you've been through, your life story, then you're not truly you, right? That's the idea that I'm trying to work through, is that if all the food, all those memories, experiences, is rotting in the pantry, then it's no longer able to be used. It's hard to deal with. You got to throw it all out. You got to start from scratch. But there's a much better way if you just process that stuff along the way. Everything's in its place. You understand as you're going through life what is happening. How are the experiences that I'm going through today shaping who I'm becoming? Because that's the case. Every single day I'm going through experiences that are shaping who I will become. If I'm eating a little bit too many Twinkies at night, or Doritos, or whatever it is, then my calorie count is a little bit higher. And so that's one of the things on the day-to-day basis that's making me gain a little bit of weight, right? So in 10 years or in a year or whatever it is, then I notice, wow, I've put on some weight. if I would have noticed, hey, over time, this is happening, right? But you don't really notice those things until it's not that it's too late, but it shows. It's hard to show a bad habit early. So you have to take the most care of it early on. And that way it doesn't go out and make itself a bigger problem than it actually is. You see what I mean? But if you don't understand the experience that you've been through, you're not truly you. In the same way that when you're hungry, that's not you. The feeling of hunger has gripped you. It has changed your priorities mentally. You get more animalistic. You're like, I need food, right? And then anyone who says anything, they're like, hey, can you help me? And you just lash out. No! You know what I mean? Like, that's not you. You're not you when you're hungry. In the same way, you are not you unless you truly understand who you are. That's wild. If you don't understand the experiences that you've been through, you don't understand yourself. You have to understand yourself to know how you would act, to know how you should act, how you want to move forward, the vision that you have for your life. All these things come after you take the time to process those experiences. The food is not valuable to you on the shelf in the pantry. You have to eat the food. You got to cook it, and then you got to eat it and digest it. And then it's valuable, and it goes to your muscles and your body, and you can use it as energy. But if it's just sitting there on the shelf, it's just going to go to waste, right? And then it smells bad, and you got to throw it out, and you feel bad that they throw it out, and like it's just wasted money, wasted time, because it took a lot of time to do, to make that can of beans or to whatever it is. In the same way in your life, it took a lot of time to go through those 6 months at that job that never, moved you forward, or to go through that relationship for 3 months and you spent a lot of money on dates and you thought that they were the one, and then you realized, like, well, how was I blinded to all of this? Or the friend who you thought had your best interest in mind, but then, they didn't really have that best interest, right? All these different things. If you don't process those experiences and understand what happened, then you're going to fall into those same pits in the future. You're going to waste that time. It's the same thing like wasting food, Wasting food is frowned upon. And because there's people that are starving out there, right? So you don't want to waste food in the same way you don't want to waste those experiences that you go through. Because there are people who are yearning for those experiences to understand what life is like in your shoes. Your unique value proposition to give to the world is your unique set of experiences that has formed or forged who you are today. The situations, the circumstances, the experiences, the events, whatever it is, the interactions that you have with friends, the things that you've learned, the jokes that you've said, the ideas that you've come up with, the love that you've shared, the habits that you have, all these things together. That is your unique value proposition to give to the world. Now, in the same way that, some pieces of artwork are extremely valuable and others are not as valuable at all. They're just paint on a canvas. The ingredients are all the same. The paint on the canvas is the same. The canvas is the same. The wood of the frame is the same, right? But it's just expressed in a different way. So you got to find out, how can I express this set of circumstances, situations, experiences that I've been through in a unique way that is valuable to the world. And so then for me, like, I know I want to be a public speaker, and as well, I'm very creative. Okay, so then social media makes sense for me. That is a unique, and that's a broad, overview, but we're getting there, right? We're putting paint on the canvas. We're painting the mountains in the background and the sun. We haven't painted the portrait of the Mona Lisa yet, but we've gotten close, right? The what should we call it? Foundation is laid. Okay, so then I know that I want to do social media because I like to make these ideas happen, and I like to lead people, and I like to speak publicly. So the perfect platform for me would be making videos on social media. And that's why I'm doing this. One of the several reasons, right? Well, on top of that, like, what are the unique experiences that I've been through that other people haven't been through? So I would be inclined to take a certain path that other people might not be as inclined to take because they haven't been through the same circumstances as me. One big one is that I couldn't find a roommate when I was headed to my first year of college at King's College in London because of COVID-19, and I couldn't get my visa. And this is a memory that I've had to process because this event changed the path of my life entirely. I thought I was going to be an investment banker right now. I would have graduated last year. I thought I was going to be in investment banking this year with my mathematics degree. And, a man can dream at 18 years old, right? When this happened. But I guess I was 19. Well, no, I was 18 when it happened, yeah. But this unique event happened in my life where I couldn't find a roommate. And I was living on this friend of mine's couch for 2 months, which he was still paying him rent, but extremely grateful for that. That situation caused me to go home early and then take math classes online through a screen. And I got very depressed because I need to be around people. I'm extroverted. On top of that, it was very difficult to take these classes online, because I like to ask questions, not type them on a screen, but to actually physically have a conversation with the professors. And then that caused me to slowly start to slip up on my grades. And then eventually I didn't even take my finals. And then I failed out of my freshman year of college at one of the greatest schools in the world, right? And all of this happened in part, not mainly, but in part because I couldn't find a roommate, right? Well, then that's a unique experience that I've been through. I don't want anyone else to have to go through that, because it's changed the trajectory of my life. It definitely opened the door to a lot of great things. I wouldn't have taken the 50 states road trip idea seriously if I didn't drop out of college, because when I dropped out, I was like, I need to do something to make up for the fact that I just dropped out of college, So there's things that have come about, like the Chipotle sponsorship, the Barstool Idol appearance, my cross-country journeys, the 50 States Marathon Challenge that I'm doing right now. All these things have been a cause of taking that first step because I was kind of forced into it because of that circumstance, right? So I'm grateful for it, but at the same time, that circumstance changed my life. I don't want other people to have to go through that because maybe they might not be in the position where they could, move forward. If they're not creative, then maybe they might not lean into that creative side and then go out and do this cross-country road trip to all 50 states. Maybe they might be more inclined to, actually using that math degree somewhere. But because their freshman year, they failed out and then it was a downward slope from there. Whatever the reason is, I have gotten out of this situation unscathed, relatively. And on top of that, I have this sting of a future path, a vision for my life that didn't end up working out, that gives me that certain interest to go into the world and create a social media platform that connects people who are headed to college. This is one of my greatest ideas that I've been building out for such a long time that I need to take action on. And I'm slowly trying to figure out how I can start taking action on it, right? But that unique value proposition that I can give to the world, not only am I a public speaker and a leader, and I'm very extroverted and I'm interested in connecting people, which is why I'm working with this nonprofit called Whisper, if you've seen any of the videos in the past, connecting high school students, right, through conversation. All these things together, paired with my high school experience and, how I had no friends my freshman year of high school, or I had some, but I felt isolated. And that's a whole story in itself. And my freshman year of college, when I was living on a couch, the story I just told, right? All these things together, that's my unique set of experiences that has led me to become who I am today. And then that's my unique value proposition that I can give to the world. I have that interest to help people get connected, to help people not be isolated, because I went through that and I know the sting, the pain. And so then that's something that lays on my heart that I want to go do in the world, is fix that problem. So what are the unique circumstances, events, situations that you've been put through? What are the different ideas that you've had, the ways that you've lived your life, the forces of habit, the things that you've learned, experiences, mistakes, all these different things together. Write out that story of your life. And this takes years, right? Because if you've lived 22 years, it's going to take you a lot of time to figure out what are all the main events that have made me who I am today. Luckily, I've kept a rough timeline. I call it the timeline. It's Google Doc with the main events that have happened in my life, the really big ones. And so I've got a little bit of a kickstart on that whole process. So if you want to do this, start your own timeline. Open up a Google Docs, that way you never lose it, and just write out, it could be one word, like King's College London, that's 3 words, but London, right? And I know exactly what that is. And then I'm just trying to write down all these things, the sequence of events that have made me who I am today. And then over time, I slowly process each of those individual things and how they've shaped me and how they might have shaped the way that I act so that I can understand if I need to act better. It probably stems from this belief in the past, right? Now, once I understand all that, which is a long process, I can kind of forecast in the future what I could be good at, right? And that's what people call a vision. And then on top of that, I can use those two things together to know, hey, this is where I want to go and this is where I've been. And this is the unique value proposition that I can add to the world. So I know that I want to be in public speaking, but more than that, I want to help other people develop their public speaking skills, potentially. That's not me, but like someone like John Maxwell, right? He does leadership teaching, leadership skills. He has this whole program, whatever it is. That's his unique path. For whatever reason, he's gone down that. His circumstances have led him to be uniquely gifted at that one thing. And that's all you can ask for your life, is to understand, what am I uniquely gifted at? What circumstances that I've been through could be valuable to the rest of the world, right? Now, if you search yourself and you realize I'm kind of boring, right? Then it's hard to accept that. But then you got to say, okay, what do I want to do? If I had to write the story for my future, looking back, this is how I want my story to change. Then you can kind of start to understand, these are the situations that I have to put myself in to be a more interesting person. For example, if you want to be able to, lead a group of businessmen and women at a dinner to raise money for your nonprofit, right? Then you should probably be really good at storytelling and connecting and all these different things. Well, to be really good at storytelling, you probably need to have some really good stories. Okay, so then you need to go out into the world and do some interesting things. And it seems so basic, but it's just like, it's a starting point, and then you get really narrowed in and focused. And I can't tell you exactly what that is for your life, because it's unique to you. That's your struggle. That's your burden to carry, but it's a great one because it's yours. It's mine. It's ours. We get to carry our weight through the world. So try to figure out what that is for you, and put everything in its place. That way, when it's dark and you don't know what's going on in life, you don't step on something accidentally and slip and break your neck, right? When I'm walking through my room at night and it's dark in the room and I have to go to the bathroom, I know that the foam roller is not in the way. I have the confidence that I can walk through the darkness unscathed. And that's what you need in your own life, because there will be darkness. There will be times when you have no one to call on, right? Try to set your life up so that doesn't happen, so that you always have someone to call on. But there will be times when it's just you. You have to lean on your own judgment, the pillars of your own mind. What are those three pillars? It's the mind, the body, and the spirit. So the pillars of yourself, I should say. This is why I don't want to talk too much about this, but basically you see a lot of guys when they lose their first girlfriend and they're like 17 or 18 or in college, they just get absolutely jacked at the gym because they've lost one of the pillars of their life, and the mind, body, and soul. They've lost the soul connection a little bit because it was their girlfriend, right? So then they lean heavily on the body just to start doing that, or heavily on the mind. They just only work flat out every single day, 18 hours. You know what I mean? You want to lean on all three pillars. When one falls, you want to have two more to lean on, instead of overcompensating for one to neglect that last, the one that was taken out. That is still an idea I'm developing, but I'm going to leave it there because it was a lot. Process the things, the experiences, the mistakes, lessons learned. Write them down. Keep them close to heart. Know your story. Who are you? How can you uniquely provide value to the world? Then you can move forward in the world with the full confidence. You can move through the darkness with the confidence that you won't slip and fall and break your neck. You can move through the light with the confidence that there are no shadows behind you that you're trying to cover up, right? That you're just moving in the world and you know exactly who you are. You are truly you. And that's something that no one can say nowadays. Man, you're just so genuine. You're so authentic. It's one of the greatest compliments because it shows me that I am truly me. Could you say that about yourself? Are you genuine? Are you authentic? If you're not, if the things that you're hiding or that you're hiding from yourself, that you still haven't fully understood how your life has played out to get you to where you are today, then you're not truly you. So I challenge you to go out there and figure that out. Write out the story of your life. Understand your circumstances down to the core so that you know the unique value that you can provide the world. And when you do that, you will move the world. It's a wonderful life if you choose to make it so. Why not us?